Yeah.
All right, thank you. The amount of arguing that has taken place just to get this Joker set up has been pretty substantial. Is this weird? Hey, I'm here. Nice to meet you. Yeah? Is that what I'm saying? You gotta be kidding. I'm not cussing. Could be bad. Here we go. Hi. So I'm gonna do another YouTube's videos as we're nearing the end of a decade and a very important decade. What else are we doing? Yeah, it's Christmas time. Yay, everyone, Christmas. Anyways, okay, so I wanted to do a YouTube's about your word for the year. Okay, so I tried to do this video earlier and my microphone literally fell as I was talking and it ended about here. Whatevs, no big deal. So we're gonna attempt this Joker again, but I feel like the other one was way better, so we'll see what happens. Anyways, what happened was every year I pray that God will give me a word for the year. It's a word that pretty much what it does is it guides my year. It's like the road I'm on the whole year. So I read about it, I study it, I read verses about it, I read books about it. It's the word that I feel like God puts on my heart and says, hey, I want you to learn this, I want you to do this for an entire year. So that's kind of what I do. In 2015, in the end of 2014, I had a really significant loss in my family. And I had a really great friend who was driving me home from an outing, and she looked at me and said, I think you need a word for the year. I said, lady, that's weird. I don't know what you mean. She said, I'm serious. Ask for God to give you a word for the year. And before I could even say, God, hey, could you give me a word for the year? The word restore immediately dropped in my heart. And I was like, okay, cool, Jesus. What are you going to restore? And he said, watch. And he did. He spent the entire year restoring things I'd lost, things that I loved that I had to give away. I literally watched God for an entire year restore lost things. It was pretty incredible. So when I got to the end of 2015, I was like, ooh, Lord, give me a cool word. He was like, I'm going to give you a cool word. That cool word was listen. Not happy about it. Was not happy about the word listen because I felt like I've been listening for a while now, Lord. I don't know if you caught the whole word of the year thing. He said, no, listening has nothing to do with your ears, Chari. It has everything to do with your heart. See, in the year before, I had gotten this tattoo on my arm. Wait, the word one. Can you see it? Anyways, it says, en todo veo la mano de Dios. In everything I see the hand of God. And so he said, you can see me, but you don't hear me. And so I spent the entire year learning what it really meant to hear God in the craziness, in the muck and the mire, and the busyness. It was an incredible year. So the very next year I said, okay, God, what you gonna do? What word do you have for me? I don't know if you know, I got them written here in my Bible. Anyways, so the very next year God told me, he says, your word for the year is here, like right here. And I was like, I don't understand why I need to be here. I am here. And he said, you don't embrace the moment. You actually look so far ahead. You're futuristic so much so, or contextual, and you look so far back that you don't ever embrace here. And so I'm going to teach you that the kingdom is here and now, and teach you all about here. And that whole year is incredible. It was like I was in the moment. God did incredible things. I think that's even the year I started to I finished the book, and I was like praying about doing a podcast, and God began to open doors. But it was because I began to be super duper faithful, right exactly where I was planted, and it totally changed my life. And so right at the end of that year, the Lord said, hey, I'm going to change your word to sacrifice. Well, that was a little, hurt my feelers a little bit because I thought I was pretty sacrificed. And he was like, Chari, surrender is very different than sacrificed. And he gave me these definitions. I'm going to put on the screen right now. Okay, so as I started to download that, God, what's the difference between surrender and sacrifice? He said, I'm telling you this because if you don't learn this, I won't be able to give you a word for the next year. And in 2018, he gave me the word focus. And so if I've learned anything working on film and photos and stuff is that you can take a million beautiful pictures, but if it's not in focus, it doesn't matter. And I felt like God was walking me through seasons and walking me through months and life lessons that was like, hey, I need you to see some things clearly. And which is funny because I got to the end. That was the year that like the podcast really took off and I started speaking more. And God was like, not only do you need to hear me, not only am I going to restore things to you, not only are you need to be focused, but I'm going to be showing you exactly what your focus needs to be on. And it was the people. God began to show me people. I began to really function in a really different manner with people and how I spoke to people. And God was teaching me how to love people anew. It was pretty cool. And then this year, I began to pray about, that was 2018. And then in 2019, I said, okay, God, I'm focused, I'm listening, I'm sacrificed and surrendered. God, what else do you want me to do? And in 2019, he said, Chari, not yet. And I said, like you're not going to give me my word yet? And he said, no, that's your word. Not yet. And I was in a season where I was really struggling with what to do next. I wasn't going to move. I wasn't going to move without his saying, but I was very uncertain about some things. And I felt like God said, whatever it is that you think, it's not yet. And it was a really hard beginning of the year trying to understand like a not yet season. So I started to study what not yet season means and how you need to be in a constant set of waiting and understanding, and how when God comes back, he's going to be, he wants a bride that's ready. He wants a bride that is awaiting him in a way that is that understands not yet seasons. And see, people that understand not yet seasons do it with maturity. People who don't understand not yet seasons get bitter and frustrated, and God can't use them ultimately. So understanding not yet seasons is gangster. And then about halfway through 2019, he said, get ready. And I was like, for what? What's happening? Like, this is weird. I liked Restore and Listen. If you could take me back to Restore and Listen, that'd be cool. One word's Jesus. And he said, get ready. And before I knew it, all this travel started and all these opportunities opened. And so I had been in the ready position for 6 months. And then I watched God in the last 6 months of the year ready me for some pretty serious stuff that's been pretty incredible. And so I just want to encourage you. 2020 is literally 2-3 weeks-ish away, and you need a word for your year. You need a word. God needs to drop something in your heart for you, for your house, for your family. And this year, my word is clarity. We're heading into 2020. I want clear vision for the year, clear vision for my life, clear vision for my husband and I, clear vision for whatever's next and whatever's now and whatever was. And clarity is the word for my year. And so I'm going to study it. I'm going to read about it. And I just think that when you put your year in front of God and say, whatever you want it to be, Lord, let it be that, I think God blesses you. And I have watched since 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 7 years of words, 7 years of surrender. And I've watched God do incredible things. So please, get a word for your year. Get a word for your days and your months. I've even taken it farther, and I get up in the morning and I say, Lord, what's my strategy for my day? When I set up my month at a glance in my office, I ask God for a word for the month, and he gives me a word. And I think, man, when you seek him and you ask him, he shows up. It's when we try to do things on our own that we falter. So be encouraged. I love you guys. Also, the podcast comes back January 3rd. I'm doing an entire season on what happens when. What happens when you're alone. What happens when you believe a lie. What happens when you love your gift more than the gift giver. It's going to be a pretty savage podcast season. You're not going to want to miss this one. Tell your friends, tell your mama, tell everybody. I Crying Corners is back January 3rd. It's a Friday, I think. Did I say January 3rd? I don't know. January 3rd is a Friday. 10 brand new episodes, brand new season, brand new content. Save the date.